Tim Walz. The fastest way to get credibility in the United States of America is through the military. It's two ways that you establish credibility. If you want to be respected and you want to get a leg up on your competition, it's two ways that you can do it. The first way is military, because everybody loves a veteran. Everybody loves to get in front of somebody and say, thank you for your service, and respectfully so. I mean, if you are willing to put your life on the line, which we all know that it's a lot of people that's looking to get the benefits that come along with the military, but it's nothing wrong with that either, right? You should be fairly compensated, and they should give you the GI Bill. They should take care of your property taxes in certain states so where you don't have to pay them. It should be, health care and free coverage. It should be free education and stuff like that. So the military is a phenomenal option for you as a man. If you are a young man and you don't know what to do with your life, I've talked to so many different guys that said, listen, man, the military is a phenomenal option for young men that are undecided on what they need to do, but they can get all of the benefits and they get some discipline that they ain't got because they was raised in a single mother household, and they have the ability to go to school for free, and they can buy a house and use that all of the benefits that come along with the military is phenomenal. So in addition to being able to benefit from the military in that sense, you can also benefit from the military when it comes to your career choices, because your background speaks volumes. You know what we look for in politicians, subconsciously and consciously? People that serve the country, that are really American first, and people that are married. People that serve the country that are American first, and people that are married. Because marriage establishes credibility. So if you ever want to run for office, it just makes you seem more trustworthy if you have a long-standing marriage and relationship and you have the prototype of what America wants, what America has always dreamed of. 2 kids, picket fence, served your country, was successful, put yourself up by your bootstraps, never got a handout, but you are of the people and you understand what they go through. And so you was also able to get to it. And now you've become a public servant. It is the blueprint to success as a politician. Unless you leverage that military record falsely, so you have some kind of sketchy military record that you then leapfrogged into the position that you have, which is what Tim Walz is being accused of by people and veterans that apparently he was aligned with at the time, but he abandoned the people that he was supposed to be on the front lines with. Now, I don't know. I have no clue. All I can do is mine through the different stories, try to figure it out, and then have a conversation about it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Let's get to it.
America, for some folks, they're just getting to know Coach Walz's story. He is a veteran who served our nation in uniform for more than 2 decades as a member of the Army National Guard.
For 24 years, I proudly wore the uniform of this nation. The National Guard gave me purpose. It gave me the strength of a shared commitment to something greater than ourselves.
And as the Harris campaign highlights Walz's military service, well, they left out a major detail. When his battalion deployed to Iraq in 2006, he wasn't with them. He retired. He said he wanted to run for Congress. But some of the men serving in his battalion say he abandoned them and only retired once he found out they were getting deployed.
The plot thickens. So you proudly wore the uniform. We heard him say that until it was actually time to stand up for what our country really stood for. So wait a minute. You was able to get all of the benefits, all of the monies, all of that stuff. Because remember, it was people that was on Monday Night Show and was saying, listen, police officers, they know what they getting into. They shouldn't just benefit from all of this and that, so on and so forth, and high pay over there in LA and all of this other type of stuff. You put your life on the line. That's what you signed up for. Ain't nobody going to feel sorry for you. That's what they told me on Monday night. I was appalled. I said, wait a minute. So you saying that you proudly wore the uniform, you took the pictures, but then when it was time to get deployed, and put in the work that you benefited from, you said, no, I'm about to run for Congress. I got to run for Senate. I got to run for Congress. I got to run for governor. And then eventually, hopefully, they're going to pick me to be vice president of the United States of America.
Now, when he was asked about it late today, well, Walz adopted Kamala's MO and simply refused to answer the question.
Governor, fans accuse you of stolen valor. Your response. Governor.
Best way to deflect.
Joining me now is
like
Thomas Behrens, retired Command Sergeant Major for the Minnesota National Guard. Thomas, good to have you with us tonight. Now, J.D. Vance is saying this is a case of stolen valor. He obviously served in the Marine Corps in active duty. What is your take on this? Is this just, a casual mistake? Is this something far darker?
That's way far darker than a lot of people think. I mean, it is stolen valor. He's used the rank that he never achieved in order to advance his political career. He's done it for decades now, basically. I mean, maybe not decades, but damn close to it. I mean, he still says he's a retired Command Sergeant Major to this day, and he's not. He uses his rank of others to make it look like he's a better person than he is. He's still.
Wait. Somebody in the chat said, Anton, this is a very weak take. Just move on. Skip this part of the show. This is a weak take. I'm stretching on this one. I'm not stretching. I'm listening to the people that were a part of his background speak on exactly what he's done. So wait a minute. We're not ever going to try to, take away from somebody and what they've done. But at the same time, you don't think that it's an issue for somebody to say that they something that they not and to use a rank that you never achieved as a stepping stone in order to validate yourself in the face of the American people? You don't think that that's a problem? You don't think, because a lot of us keep having this conversation based off of integrity and truth and who you really are. You don't think that it's valid. It's valid for us to do a research or to at the very least hear the people that are disgusted, that are a part of our military, that actually served and was deployed. You don't think that it's necessary in order for us to understand whether or not this man is really who he say he was? At the very least is the rank that he say that he is, which means that it's an accomplishment for you to get to certain levels. You don't think that it's a valid argument or something that we need to have a conversation about? Why wouldn't I have a conversation about, or at the very least listen to, because I haven't even made an assessment yet. I haven't said whether I agree or I disagree in front of all 5,000 of you on YouTube. I haven't said any of that. The only thing that I said is, let me listen to the veterans that is saying that this retired veteran, Thomas, is saying that this guy is saying that he is something that he's not. He doesn't actually have the record that you think that he is. He ain't the person that you say that he is. He put tampons in a boy's bathroom. He let Minneapolis burn. I don't know if y'all remember that. He let the whole state, Minnesota, burn during the riots. He said, I'm not stopping it. Y'all go and do what y'all want to do and tear up y'all own neighborhoods. You don't think that this is reasonable for us to have a conversation, at the very least, listen to what this man has to say? I think we should listen to what he has to say. Let's continue.
Does it even, just however long ago?
Well, to that point, just so everyone understands what we're talking about here, on his biography, on his campaign website, and even on the Minnesota website, it lists him, Governor Walz, as a retired Command Sergeant Major. And his governor's bio says the same thing. It even says that is the rank he retired at. I mean, that's just a fact. You did or didn't. But again, the Minnesota National Guard told the Angle he retired as a Master Sergeant. Now, for people who don't have any military background, they might think, oh, Command, Sergeant Major, Master Sergeant. Why is that such a big deal? Tell us why that's such a big deal.
Well, it's a big deal for the simple fact that in order to, when you get conditionally promoted to Command Sergeant Major or Sergeant Major, you're signing a document that states that you will complete the United States Army Sergeant Major's Academy, which is technically a 2-year course, 2-year college course almost. And if you don't complete that, you don't get the rank. So you basically get reduced. It's conditional. You get pinned with E9, but then it gets taken away from you when you either quit or you end up having don't complete the course. So
if you quit, then that's not what you are.
What he did basically was he quit. He didn't complete that condition, and he didn't complete the condition of doing 2 years after graduation. So he gets reduced to a master sergeant, and that's what he is right now, as a retired master sergeant.
Well, I think the issue here is that in some of the statements that were published and some of the comments that were made, when you say you were deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, it indicates to people something. And the implication is you were deployed in, I guess, Iraq or Afghanistan. And that's what most people think. And maybe it's something that's just wrong, but that's what a lot of people think. But how long did your unit spend in Iraq? And what was it like when you were there? Because, again, for people who believe that he was deployed in Iraq, people should understand what that was like.
So wait a minute, he never was actually deployed to Iraq? Either he is or he not. Did he do the same thing that a lot of us do? Listen, I'm not gonna blame him. Shout out to Tim Walz. Let me give Tim Walz a round of applause. Tim Walz, by all accounts, and listen, this is a different type of morning show, so I need y'all to understand where we're going here. We're going dark. Tim Walz is just like a lot of us. So at the same time, we can say that he's not vice presidential, certainly not fit to maybe be president, especially since he let his own city burn, and he's gender affirming, at least that's what his stance is. So aside from that, right, we just really want to get down to the brass tacks of things. And I'm not going to hold Tim accountable right now. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to hold Tim accountable. Because Tim do the same thing that I see a lot of y'all doing as far as jazzing up that resume in order to get to that job. Tim is, by all accounts, what black culture loves. Tim is, by all accounts, exactly what we like to see in the culture. You know why? Because he juiced up that resume, baby. Hey, listen, I was almost there. I almost went to Iraq and was deployed. I might as well just throw it on there. Ain't nobody tripping about that. We're going to throw that on the bio. We're going to throw that on the resume. We're going to make sure that we go ahead and get that position. You know what I'm saying? Y'all doing the same thing. I mean, he may not be presidential or vice presidential. He may not be the person that we need to lead America. But he ain't no different than all the rest of us that be jazzing up the resume in order to get the position. Listen, I am not a janitor. I am a sanitation engineer. You know what I'm saying? He's not a janitor. He's a sanitation engineer. Okay? So we can't really give him too much flack. All of us did a little bit of pizzazz and we threw a little star on our resume. You know what I'm saying? He was actually a part of the National Guard. He just didn't go and serve. He just didn't complete the course. He didn't do what he was supposed to do. He quit in order to be able to get out of it and then go run for Congress and then governor. And then now he's standing next to Kamala Harris as the male version of her. All right, go ahead. Listen, do your thing, Tim. Finesse it. Get it. I'm with it.
Well, going back on what you said, I mean, technically in the old days, Operation Enduring Freedom was Afghanistan and Operation Iraqi Freedom was Iraq. And he spun this, where we were in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and the people in the unit that he was at in Italy were supposedly going to get deployed to Afghanistan. I mean, there's documents out there that state some of those lies. And the 173rd Airborne was in Italy. That's their base, home base, and they actually air assault, or they parachuted into Iraq at that time. So I mean, his spin was a lie then, but back then, some of the party would basically say that they wanted to Afghanistan was like the real war, and Iraq wasn't. So if you're in support of enduring freedom, you know, you were in the war you should be in, and Iraqi freedom was kind of Bush's war. But you know, that's how that all unfolded. Well, when we ended up in Iraq, I mean, we trained for 6 months, and then we ended up, you know, going overseas. We're supposed to be in Iraq for a year, and then we got extended and did the whole you know, surge, and we were there for 6 more months. 17 months total.
Yeah, 2006 I was there in February of 2006 just for 2 weeks, and it was getting very real and extremely, extremely dangerous. I know so many men were lost, and you were there. He also made a comment about going to war, which again, the implication being, well, what it was for most people. Listen.
I spent 25 years in the Army, and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons.
Ooh, talk about jazzing it up. Okay, big dog, I like it. You put a little bit of spin on it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, dog, you know, I went and got that charger. He didn't tell you that it was the SXT. It wasn't the SRT. It wasn't a Hellcat. It was a Scat Pack. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. We just changed the badges. We just changed the badges on the side of the car. You're not going to be able to the regular untrained eye, if you're not, and this is why we got to get people, veterans and stuff like that, to be able to come up here and vet these people effectively. If you are not in the field or you don't understand the difference, this is why we refer to these type of live streams, so that we can vet out exactly whether or not this guy is really what it is. See, to the ladies, you can change the badge on it. You can change the badge on your car. She don't know no difference. A Corvette is just a Corvette. It's a Stingray. It's not a ZR1. You know what I'm saying? A Scat Pack sound the same as a Hellcat to her. You don't need the other key. It's the same thing. It look the same. The body is the same. It's made on the same line. It just don't have them superchargers on it. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna juice it up a little bit. And I get it. Listen, all of the fellas did it. They lied to the ladies. I get it. Talk your stuff, man. Talk your stuff, Walz. Get it, bro.
Now, Thomas, weapons of war that I carried in war.
Right.
Again, what does that mean to most people? I mean, in language matters.
To most people, that would mean that he was actually in combat, carrying a weapon in a combat zone and getting combat pay, and in a dangerous hostile environment where he was getting shot at. I mean, if he thinks Italy was a combat zone or a war zone and he was carrying that in war, he's delusional. I mean, that was all said, just like him saying he was a command sergeant major, just another way to embellish his career beyond what it was, stolen valor for the people that actually were in war, and he's acting like he was in war. Well,
we're not going to worry about that. We going to listen. And don't worry, I'm just joking. This is tongue in cheek, because I believe that if you are to become the vice president and you are to serve the highest offices in the United States of America, then I think that you need to absolutely be transparent of who you are. It's some people in the chat that's mad. They say, oh, well, J.D. Vance was just this. Yeah, but J.D. Vance didn't lie. That's the difference. We expect more from the people that are our leaders, right? Leadership requires a greater level of responsibility. It requires a greater level of transparency. We need to know who it is that we're dealing with so that we can better understand what type of policies that they'll put in place, and if they can even stand up to world leaders on a large scale. And so I think that we need to deep dive into what J.D. Vance's take is on this, because people wanted to mention J.D. Vance, and so I think it's important for us to mention that. Before we